Let's push on to the other Islander side, the other Pacifica side, Moana Pacifika. Rev, you got anyone that you should know out of that side?
From this that you should know, I think the name that probably sticks out most is Arianari. A lot of the Super Rugby fans would know him from his time in the Crusaders, but he also racked up 50 games between Canterbury and Hawke's Bay as well. So he's been in the system for a long time, but stuck behind Bryn Hall and Mitch Drummond. I'm really excited to see how he goes here. Not least of all because he's related to Caleb Clark. Like having him as your cousin is pretty handy. You probably few backyard rugby events we come off second best. But he's someone that really looks exciting and had some really, I think, sniping moments that you're kind of looking for in a fantasy perspective via scrum half. So he's got a bit of a battle with Jonathan Tamateni for minutes, but he's someone that looks unreal. And as one of the early signings for the team, I'm really excited by him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I've got one that jumps out for me, and that's Levi Almor. Built like a tight head prop, but is quite a mobile player.
Not anymore here. So I don't know if you saw his article, interview that he released today. He said the thing that stopped him from really achieving his potential at the Blues and the Chiefs was that he had a lot of personal issues with his weight, and he has really struggled to lose weight. He says he's in the best shape he's ever been, and he thinks the training for the Moana Pacifika and a little bit of time in Japan has helped him really reflect on how he needs to look after his body a little better. So that's some worrying signs if you're having to face up against him, because even when he wasn't at his absolute fittest, he was a wrecking ball. So yeah, very exciting.
They've got a lot of really dominant centres, and I'm assuming they're just going to go to their strengths, and that's what they're going to build their team around, these dominant runners. But he was playing at Toyota Industries. He's played. He was at the Blues for a year. He was at the Chiefs. He was at Bordeaux. Most exciting for him, he was playing for Brisbane City for a couple of years. I don't know if you guys knew that.
He left Brisbane City though.
He left. We should
left Queensland. I can't believe it.
If it was New South Wales, he would have stayed and been playing for the Wallabies. So, but yeah, he's just absolutely a wrecking ball. So he's an exciting one to watch, and I'm sure he's going to be getting good time. I know there's a lot of competition there, but he's got to.
I've got an exciting player, one more exciting player that you should know. Sakopi Kappu.
Never heard of him.
He's only 35 years young.
Yeah.
The way that props are going these years, though, I think he's got another 5 or so years at Super Rugby level.
Giddo's at 10 playing at 39. He just signed on a new contract. So
yeah, I reckon Keps has got another 5 years ahead of him. Yeah. So that's my you should know. I won't say any more. I think probably people do know him.
He was good at fantasy footy as well.
He was very good.
Yeah.
You might knows. We've only got one here, Rev, so I'll let you go, and if you take it, then I'll pretend I had nothing.
The might know I put down as Sam Slade, and it's a bit niche. I guess you'd only know him if you're watching some of the test footy this year, because he racked up 4 caps, but I think the reason why he's exciting to me is he's a big body. So he's 195 centimeters, 118 kilos, absolutely huge. They listed him as a back row, but he got a few minutes in the locks as well. So I think that adds huge value to a team that doesn't necessarily have standout locks. They'd be going for a few other options. So just to have someone of that caliber come in, I expect him to get a fair few minutes, but more importantly, just huge. We can't stress enough. If you're big, we love you. So that's yeah. There's no shaming here. We all heartily endorse Alfie. The more big kids, the better. So
not his dad, but
not his dad. Yeah. Not his dad. No. We'll cancel him quickly. But yeah, so Sam Slade, chuck him in your must watch. Because I've loved every bit of him I've seen, and I think we're going to see a lot of him.
We haven't decided if we're going to list him at lock or back row either. So I think that's something to keep an eye out on. I'm leaning towards back row, but geez, it'd be a bit of fun just to put him in the locks as it's just a bit of a smoky there and encourage someone to pick him up. But for me on Sam Slade, he's got bleached blonde hair, and he's got his own YouTube channel where each year he releases his own highlights package from the year. So he's a big unit. He's a beast. He wants to stand out, and he wants you to know he's there as well. So I just loved that. That made me so happy when I was looking up highlights, and it was all produced by him.
Yeah. So, and as Cargie said, Pierre Spies-esque. He's just an absolute unit.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll go to, you might know, we're sitting in this, Lincoln Mcclutchy. So 22 years old, a lot of NPC experience and done really, really well in the last few years. Guided the Magpies to a win in 2020. Then also took them to the top of the table in 2021 before they lost in the finals. They held the runner for a shield for a long time when he was
9 defenses.
Yep,
They still hold it. They're still current holders. They held it all this year, and I think they defended it 3 or 4 times last year as well. 3 times last year.
Yeah, and if any Inari is playing 9, there's a good combo there between the two of them. So he could be an exciting one to fill that 10 jersey.
Yep. Mate, we've got one more name here, Rev, but we'll let you go. Anyone for you might not know?
The might not know, I chucked in Sam Molly. So he's one of the hookers, and I think he didn't get as much of the limelight because the other 2 hookers coming across were from the Blues, and you might have seen them in the Super Rugby before. But he racked up 2 Test caps this year. He's only 23, but he is really exciting. Someone that got a few minutes for Tonga, but he just looked good in every game I've seen him in, and his 12 appearances for Tasman. I think any player that's in that sort of Tasman, Hawke's Bay, even the Taranaki sides, like they churn out some quality players. So at 114 kilos, that's a pretty hefty little hooker. I'm keen to see him get some minutes.
He was apparently working as a chippy or a builder or something when he got his call up to go play for Tonga. And that's how he got his exposure to get his full-time contract, first full-time contract in Super Rugby. So it's a pretty cool story. I do hope we see more and more from him. But I've got one more player here, speaking of the Tasman Mako.
Can we just say one of the funnest names to say?
Timothy Tavatavanavai.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, so very excited to see him. And as you said, man, anyone that can hold down a spot in the Tasman Mako is going to be a weapon. And he played wing for them all year. Tavatavanavai, I cannot wait to see him play this year. He's a real talent and some good YouTube highlights too.
Yeah, he's just one of those ones you just want to watch his highlight reel.